Welcome everyone to our very first B2B Technology USA Hub or HubSpot Users Group. My name is Jen Lombardi. I'm the owner of Kiwi Creative, and we're here today to hear from Christina Kay on how B2B tech companies can leverage HubSpot for long-term RevOps success. That's a very long title, but very detailed, pertinent, hot topic for today. The agenda will be, we're starting now with some introductions here. The presentation will begin in just a couple minutes after some housekeeping issues. And then at the end, it might be 1 o'clock, it might be a little bit before then, we'll wrap up and catch any of those questions that you put in the chat panel during Christina's presentation. So as I said, my name is Jen Lombardi. I'm the owner of Kiwi Creative. We are hosting the very first ever hub for B2B technology companies here in the USA, because that's exactly what our marketing agency does. I see some of our clients on here today, so hello to them. But we do work with growing B2B software and tech organizations here in the USA. We've been a HubSpot partner for probably 5 years now, so very familiar with the platform. We're technically a platinum solutions provider there as well. So if you do have any questions at the end, either Christina or myself are more than happy to answer them for you, whether they're HubSpot specific or not. And with that, I will officially mute myself so Christina can have the stage here and introduce herself, her background, and why she's so passionate about the RevOps topic in tech.
Hi, everyone. Like Jen said, my name is Christina Kay, and I am the head of marketing at ResellerRatings. I have been using HubSpot for over 10 years. I've used a lot of other marketing automation, MarTech tools, but HubSpot has always been my number one. Currently, I do lead a SaaS company. It's based in Cleveland, Ohio, but we have a couple people all over the US. And I lead the demand gen efforts, branding, growth, and I work a lot with our sales enablement and training. Like it says in the slide, I am a MarTech junkie. I love everything about marketing technology, how they connect, but also really how they can work like throughout the whole company. And recently I was named top 25 under 35 in Cleveland. So that was a really cool honor that I had last year during the pandemic. It was kind of an exciting thing to receive during a kind of sad time. You can move the slide, Jen. Thank you. So we're going to start off talking about RevOps ownership and finding gaps. So what is RevOps? Some of you might know this, some of you might not, but really what I think of RevOps is that center or that like Venn diagram that connects everything in your organization. So sales, marketing, customer success. The definition is, so revenue operations is responsible for aligning the operational functions, so AKA sales, marketing, and customer service or success, depending on what your organization names it. So really that is the alignment, adoption, and management of your people, process, and platforms. You'll probably hear me talk a lot about process and platforms during this webinar, but just keep that in mind because those are really important when you're focusing on RevOps strategies. You can advance. Thank you. So what does RevOps do? So they focus on business objectives and strategies that drive revenue org-wide. So sometimes your RevOps could be in different departments, and we will talk about where and who will own it in a little bit. But RevOps really focus on creating processes. So anybody who has been in project management before or in project management currently or account management might love doing RevOps, and that person could be that owner because they like writing processes, training people on things, as well as just pushing the organization to grow in the sense of revenue. RevOps also rewrites or writes, depending on when it's adopted, the internal operations to improve client acquisition, empower that client, and establish that company culture throughout the customer's journey, just so it's really consistent through your messaging so you can drive that revenue. And usually RevOps does own reporting, and because of HubSpot, it's really great in the reporting and dashboard, especially with the new things they're putting through that you really can report on all three really easily. You can go next slide. So RevOps can be your competitive advantage. And RevOps is happening at your company, whether you know it or not. And it really can be your competitive advantage because employee happiness can equal a shortened sales cycle as well as customer satisfaction. And when you prioritize RevOps, that means you find that single source of truth, which could be HubSpot, happier employees, data-driven decision-making, better cross-team collaboration, meaning sales, customer success, and marketing will be aligned and talking instead of marketing not liking sales, sales not liking marketing, all of that stuff that happens a lot in organizations. It's that cohesive effort. And then with all of that, you can get a shorter sales cycle, happier customers. Who doesn't love that? And when RevOps isn't a priority, obviously you'll have none of that by prioritizing it, but you'll get a lack of data surrounding prospects and customers. That is where I saw the need for RevOps in my organization. So I really pushed with that. And the responsibility falls on the wrong people. Maybe some people don't know the tech that well. Maybe some people don't know the strategies or what's aligned with the business goals. There's low platform adoption, meaning people aren't logging in to your CRM. People aren't logging in to HubSpot, depending on what text you use. And then from that, you'll get decreased cross-team collaboration. People won't be working together to really drive the goals for the company, and people will not know what's going on. And then from there, that will skew reporting and insights. It'll stunt your growth, and then your customer experience will suffer, especially if your data is all over the place, because you could get those awful emails that says, hi, first name, and you don't have like a default field. Those little things that you think are very common that people don't do, people see it, and you definitely need to implement knowing that that's in place. Next slide. Awesome, ownership. So this is super important, but also it really depends on your business. So RevOps team rolls up to really whoever focuses on your driven revenue growth strategy. So that could be your CRO or it could be your CEO. It even could be maybe a VP. It depends on where your goals are within your company to see where that RevOps group will be focused and owned. And third-party individual creates that unbiased lens for reporting. So it could be a consultant to kind of come in and see that unbiased approach. So that could be one for you. But you need to first find your tech and your people champions. For instance, I was hired at my current role because I knew HubSpot really well and I knew Salesforce really well. And I knew how they would talk and I could connect them really well. So one of my first things when I got here was to talk to all of the organization groups. So customer success, sales, marketing, and then our C-suites to see what the downfalls were. Maybe there's something that needs to be added within each of those to sync and connect. And from there, I really saw our need to, for me also, to grow and learn more about RevOps, which is why I leveraged our HubSpot partner network and then really joined organizations like Revenue Collective, RevGenius, Wizards of Ops, and MOPS for me to grow, learn, and network. Because when you are a part of those organizations, like for instance, Revenue Collective, there's Slack groups, and you can just really learn and grow from them and ask questions to see more hands-on approaches to what you're doing instead of reading a blog that could just be open to everybody, but that's really concentrated on your business. So this one you might want to screenshot because this is kind of what I use to break down our organization on each of our departments to see what they were doing, how they were going to work with RevOps and how they can work together. So it kind of breaks down the different functions as well as the mission for each. And from there, I did a spreadsheet that talked about each in more in depth, and then also how they can connect, who are the leaders or the owners of each of those organizations or functions. And that really helped us grow our RevOps internally and also as a function. So if you do want to screenshot this, again, this is recorded, but I can also just send you this photo as well if it's easier for you to copy and paste. So you can start your own breaking down the silos Excel sheet. You can, next slide, please. Awesome. So tech stacks, again, like I said, I'm a MarTech junkie. I love everything about it. So choosing the right stack for you is super important. You don't want to implement everything just because it's cool or you've used it before. It also really depends on what's good for the business. So what you really should do first is talk with their individuals, seeing what they lack, seeing what the tech currently lacks. And you really want to build your stack around individuals, the team, and the company goals. And also, just when you are implementing a tech stack, especially in the RevOps world, you really want to keep it clean and consistent, as well as process documents like crazy. I have this Google Doc that I wrote that pretty much explains what each of our technology is, and then from there I talk about how the functions use it. So how marketing uses it, how sales use it, how customer success use it, and how they use it all together. So it kind of brings like the circle around, so you really can see where your flaws are. And then also, if anybody new comes on or anything like that, or if you are having an agency, they can really see your playbook in the sense of your tech stack. And again, I keep saying this, but just don't keep adding tech, because one, it can get cumbersome, especially for the development team. And they're like, oh, marketing needs this, but really, like, why do you need it? Because especially now with HubSpot and the Operations Hub, there's so many things it can do that you probably don't need a third party vendor. That HubSpot can do it, because there's so many things within Operations Hub that once you learn it, it's going to make your life way easier and also eventually save you money. You can go to the next slide. So talking about tech stacks, this is what I use to organize how or what tech stacks we use for each function. In those little boxes under the activity, it tells you like what we do in marketing, what we do in sales, what we do in RevOps, customer success, and then general management and collaboration. And then you have the technologies under that. So I have the logos under each. And then from there, that's when I make links to that process doc that I kind of talked about, explaining each of our functions, the technologies, and how we use it. And then from there, kind of another layer down of that is with our CRM. It's kind of, I call it the CRM dictionary. So it's all of our fields and properties and what those values are within those. So pick lists and everything like that. Because for us, our CRM is Salesforce. So I have to make sure everything is aligned and everything is synced like perfectly, because we have been doing so many changes with that. But because I had this RevOps process in place, it made it way easier to make that more streamlined. But this Excel sheet, I did save it in Google Sheets, and we're gonna send you this doc after this presentation, and it's just like a copy of it, so you can make a copy and then use it on your own, and you can see if it helps you or not. But it's a good way to organize your tech stack to see what you need, what your flaws are, where maybe you're lacking something and you need something else. So that's going to be something sent to you after this presentation. And process, yay. So I love process and documentation. Like I talked about, writing the ones for that, all the marketing technology you use, and with each function and how they use it. It sounds crazy and it sounds kind of a waste of time. It might, but it honestly has saved so many things in our organization, because we look back and say, oh, like HubSpot can do this. Oh, like Loom can do this for us. And so it really helps us elevate our whole team across all functions, as well as just keep us honest and keep us where we're at and where we need to change. And then when things are updated in the sense of, this is how you create a ticket, this is how you add a new contact, this is how you track activities and do different things like that. It keeps us all on the same page, but also functioning in the same rhythm. So then there's no questions. And then when activity reporting comes, you can see like where your flaws are with your sales team or even your marketing, as well as just pushing the revenue all on the same level. So you're not really confused of who's driving what. With process documentation, with workflows, you can look at that document and say, what do you need? What could you automate? For instance, we were manually doing our renewal emails, and really that could be automated and based on the close date. And the close date is like the close date that's triggered off another workflow. So this workflow is like super awesome and big, but it helps save our account manager so much time instead of sending that email. It helps also when we come to like lead scoring as well as lead rotation and documenting all of those workflows of what's going on, the different fields that you're pulling in for it will save new people as well as just the C-suite mind. So they're not like, you just send them a photo of the workflow and they're like, great, this is awesome. But really explaining it will help everybody. And then with sales enablement, all those process and documentation is going to help tech adoption, because sales has been our biggest struggle in the sense of adopting some tech. But with these process docs and that continuous training and learning on it has helped them so much adopt. And I've seen the changes in activities and the growth and the increase of leads coming in. And I know it sounds so crazy when it comes to just like process and documentation helps that, but it just makes it easier for everybody because you go to one place and it's all there. You can go to the next slide, please. So what if you're a team of one? I'm a team of one when it comes to like RevOps. I do have a marketer that works with me and he's in product marketing or focused on it, but you are not alone. And then this is really, really common in the RevOps world. And the really great thing about the new Operations Hub with HubSpot is that it kind of, in my mind, it acts as so many different heads in your company because you can do so incredible things with custom workflows and coded actions. And on the next slide, I actually took everybody that I've like learned from and I really look up to in the sense of the RevOps world. So if you want to take a screenshot of this one, I would definitely follow or connect with them on LinkedIn. And there's links to their LinkedIns on the slide, but I would 1000% follow them. Another thing is Connor Jeffers. He has so many YouTube videos on this as well, and it shows you the actions like as he's doing it. And that's how I've learned. And he's super awesome. And he also just founded this company, and a company off of that is called Associate, and it's part of the HubSpot marketplace. And it helps you associate contacts to different companies if the email domains don't really connect. And that's part of the Operations Hub. And I absolutely have loved it. And it helped me so much save time in the sense of cleaning up our data and just mundane things I had to do personally. You can go to the next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about HubSpot and RevOps specifically together. So a little background on HubSpot and RevOps and how they associate. As you know, HubSpot has been known for their marketing hub for a very long time. In the past couple of years, they've added incredible sections like the CRM, CMS, sales, and service. And with all of those, they obviously were lacking some things, which is why Operations Hub came about. But because of that, you had to use all these zaps. You had to zap with Google Sheets. You had to do so many different things like on a third party, but now you can do that within Operations Hub. And about 18 months ago, HubSpot purchased PieSync, and which kind of launched into HubSpot Operations Hub. A thing to note is that PieSync isn't taking any more customers just because PieSync is basically HubSpot Ops now. So if you were thinking about getting PieSync, I would definitely jump on to Operations Hub, like the paid version, because that is basically what it is now. So that is just like a note in case you were looking into that. So Operations Hub for beginner and free tools, you can do so many things with the free tools. And I honestly would recommend starting with that because it could get overwhelming really quickly. And so if you go into the app marketplace and you filter by data sync by HubSpot, and I kind of show you how to do this within this little video. Hold on one second. I'm like losing my voice real quickly. The left-hand side, it'll say data sync built by HubSpot. And it's going to give you a huge list, well, 41 companies that have those native integrations, and there's more coming all the time, especially because those other tech partners see the need for the connection with Operations Hub. And so there are tech companies or tools that connect for free with, if you have, and some of them you have to have like a paid thing, like for Zendesk, for instance, or Intercom, but there's Google Contacts, Outlook 365, Stripe, Intercom, Zendesk, and the list goes on. One thing that we're working on right now is that connection between ChargeBee and HubSpot. And that is a new one that is still coming into process. But because I've been working and talking with them so much, I feel like every day I get at least 6 paid ads with talking about that new collaboration integration coming. So I'm excited myself to see what that is, because right now it's doing kind of minimal things together, but I'm excited to take it to another level with Operations Hub and ChargeBee with HubSpot, because it's going to save, again, our accounting team time, our account management time. It's just going to, and because time is money, and you really want to focus on satisfying your current customers and getting more perspective or getting more clients. You can go to the next slide. So there's 2 parts to this advanced paid tools section that I want to talk about. The video to the right is someone going through the weighted lead rotation using programmable automation. And if you want this code that he is explaining, I can send it to you. So just like DM me on LinkedIn and I can send it over. There's other ones I have. I have ones on standardizing first name I can send over to you. If you have the custom code for your Operations Hub section, I can send that one to you. I can send states, and I can send you this weighted lead rotation. And before you go into the lead rotation, I would talk to your other leaders, like your sales team, whoever the person you work with in the sense of RevOps, to kind of pull it all together and talk about what you need for that lead rotation. I would write it down. For us, we have 3 tiers within our SaaS company, and we have specific people for each tier depending on who the account manager. And so from there, we determined, and it sounds a little weird that we do it this way for a lead rotation, but it's for customer success. Who would that customer success manager be with the account manager that we have? So it's all weighted on that. It's based on how many people are in their book, based on the revenue that's in their book, things like that, that you can really focus. One, because you can see maybe a customer success manager has too many, or they don't have enough, and it just, or maybe it's in one industry and you kind of want to spread it out a little more. With this, it gives you advanced functionality to do all of that. And I did note that some of it does require a developer, but this is JavaScript. So if you have a little knowledge in it, I would recommend using getting a developer account within HubSpot to kind of play around and see what you can do before you do that, because there's so many amazing resources out there with like GitHub, even on the developer Slack channel with HubSpot that has that already for you, and they're like willing to help. So I would definitely look into that, or even like challenge yourself and get the HubSpot developer certification and go into it that way. You could really prove yourself with your organization with doing that. And I've taught myself how to do this myself with all those resources, especially with the list of people that I had a little bit ago. Connor Jeffers being one of them. Kyle Jepson always has amazing videos on this as well. So I'd look for webinars that they are currently doing to really drive your Operations Hub coding a little easier. You can go to the next slide. And this is a little more in depth of things you can do and things I'm doing currently with it. So you can transform data, the data hygiene, that's super important, because for a little background of my HubSpot and Salesforce, we inherited those 2 from our previous company that we were with. So that was almost 15 years of data in the Salesforce, especially that came over. And obviously with that is inconsistencies, as people that aren't here anymore. There's a lot of duplicates. And also we don't use leads in Salesforce. And as you know, with HubSpot, it's contacts. And if you bring it over to Salesforce from HubSpot, it automatically puts it as a lead, but you can change it to a contact, which we do. So it automatically creates a contact versus a lead. But what I've done in Operations Hub is make it so that in Salesforce, if you guys know in Salesforce, when you have a lead, you have to manually click like 6 times to convert it to a contact. So that's one thing we've done to save time. And I know that sounds, again, like mundane and probably a weird thing to have to automate, but it honestly saves time, because for me, I know it's annoying that if you have, because you can't combine leads and contacts. So having that within HubSpot do that for you, it makes it so much easier for everybody. I've talked a little bit about the lead assignment, but we mainly use it for CS. We do one with our BDRs, but our BDR team is so like small right now because we are a 10-year-old startup. So eventually I think we're going to do some pretty cool things with that lead assignment and things like that. But a lot of it right now is with our CS team, just because that is where we're focusing on in the sense of the lead rotation and depending on like their tiering and the structure of that company. You can use the Operations Hub for SLAs. So SLAs between service issues, and then also SLAs between like marketing and sales to make sure everybody's aligned. A really cool thing about the Operations Hub, the paid side of it, is the customized webhook, the webhooks. As you know, webhooks in any other, or APIs in any other connection is a little hard to do, but with HubSpot, they make it super easy. And one thing that I wanted to save is what I absolutely love about this Operations Hub, and this is also, you can save this when you have it, is the secrets. So within HubSpot, you have an API key that helps you connect and do the webhooks and everything like that. But that is very secure data, or secure like information you don't want anybody to have. So you can make a secret within, and people call it, not people, sorry, HubSpot calls it a happy key. So like H API, and you can save your API key with that. So then when you're writing your code, you can just select that secret for that code, so you don't have to keep writing it. So if there's things that you see that you're doing consistently, you can save it as a secret, and that will save you so much time, but also it'll save you just also memory to know how to like do the JavaScript, but also with the developer docs within HubSpot, they talk about a lot with the secrets and the HPI, the happy keys. So as you can see, I've done a lot of Disney references. I just realized that I love Disney World. So I just realized that a lot of mine are Disney, but how it can help and how it's helped me. So across all functions, so CS, sales, marketing, and support. Within marketing, it's helped me tremendously with standardizing name capitalization. I can't tell you the amount of contacts in HubSpot that have been all capital or all lowercase or a combination of it all. But with Operations Hub, you can standardize that and have it capital, lowercase for first name, last name, full name, depending on how you want to do it, because no one wants to get an email saying like, "Hi, Christina," in all caps, because that's how I typed it. It just looks a little off, but also just people like to have their name spelled the correct way or like looking the correct way. So having those functions help. Within sales, the weighted lead programs, I kind of talked about that, how we've done that with CS. And then the renewal dates with those emails we've set for those. And then for service, we just actually started this, so advanced ticketing routing for our our support team. CS kind of loops in with the sales and the sales functions we've done within the Operations Hub. So that's why I kind of missed it on that bullet point. But how it's helped, how it can help you. Data sync, especially if you have more than one vendor you're syncing or integrating with HubSpot. The data quality. So again, standardizing names, states, time zones, Then with reporting, it's going to help you so much in the sense of activities, types of activities, sub-activities, everything. So you can see the productivity of your team, as well as what processes you might need to write or more tech you might need. And it's just going to help you so much grow the company as a whole, as well as help with your revenue. And the cool thing is, oh, can you go back a little bit? Thank you. If you can code it, HubSpot can do it. If you can dream it, I think HubSpot says if you can dream it, you can do it, or HubSpot can do it. It's pretty cool. So if you see this GIF, this is how I imagine the Operations Hub. You put in all your dirty data in Operations Hub. You do some amazing coding and all the fun stuff. HubSpot cleans it up, makes it Cinderella as a princess, if you will. Then it pushes to what other integrations you have. So that is basically in a picture format what Operations Hub can help you with. And as you know, if you have more than one integration with HubSpot or with any tech you use, having clean data or having it really be aligned is super important. And with Operations Hub, it can do that for you. It can save you so much time and also just headaches, but also it'll help you with reporting, it'll help you getting all your functions aligned and driving revenue and making customers happy. So this is a little tidbit on the pricing of Operations Hub. This is not a sales pitch. I work for a SaaS company, but I did just want to be transparent about it. There's a free plan. Again, it's awesome. I would 1000% say get started with that and kind of play around with it. Start a create a developer's account and play around, see what you can do, test yourself and your abilities. It's pretty cool to see what you can do with all those codes and the help that HubSpot can give you with all the webinars and documentation that people are putting out right now. It's awesome. And if you need help with any of that, Jen can help you out. She's pretty awesome. So just shoot her an email and she can help you with implementing questions on it and things like that. So here are some takeaways from this hug. RevOps is not an option. It's a necessity. One thing to note is you don't need all these codes. You don't need all these things. You really need process documents and what your goals are, because without that, tech adoption might drop. And with that, your revenue will drop. So making sure everybody's aligned, being at the table and being upfront about what's going on, what you need. I sit on sales calls all the time. I sit on CS calls all the time. I'm head of marketing, but I like to see what's going on here so then I can help them by implementing things, making processes, and seeing like the flaws or the cracks that we need to work on in the sense of fields or properties, because some of them work out of Excel sheets. And I'm like, well, we don't need to do that because it could all be in HubSpot with custom fields and properties and things like that. So really being part of your whole function is going to help you. And then your tech stack is critical component. Again, don't add tech that you don't need. Really research it and use that Excel sheet that I have to lay out what you already have. And then read about maybe things that you didn't know your current stack did. So you're not adding another stack to one dirty data and another one to like have to log into and connect and integrate and do some APIs with. HubSpot can be your secret to success. And I say that not just because of the amazing like platform in itself, but the community. Things like hugs like this, things like the community forums at Inbound, connecting with people on LinkedIn like Jen Spencer, things like that could really help your organization. And RevOps can be a competitive advantage. RevOps is a hot topic right now. There's so many things out there on it. So take advantage of it. Like get ahead of the game, start your process documents, seeing what's like needed in your company, and be the champion of change and really help push that forward through your organization. I think that's it. So questions.
Yeah, we've had a couple questions come through in the chat panel. Obviously, if you do have any more here at the end, drop them here. I'll go ahead and moderate for Christina. I'll give you a couple minutes here to put in your questions. As a promo for our next HUG event, we're going to have them once a quarter. So in 3 months, we're going to be hearing from Sharon Torek. She is a legal expert in the marketing and agency industry. And she's going to talk about everything B2B tech marketers need to know about privacy and consent. So there's a lot of GDPRs for Europe, but California has their new user rules. Obviously, if you have any apps on your iPhone, lately you've been asked a lot about cookie tracking across apps. So she will look at the legal compliance that marketers need to take into consideration at our September event. All right, we'll go in order for the questions that were dropped in the chat panel. And the first one came from Ritesh, who would like to ask you to touch upon lead scoring and its role in the customer journey and as it relates to RevOps.
Awesome. Okay, so with lead scoring, obviously first, you should definitely look at your lead scoring quarterly to make sure it is still consistent with your business. But when it comes to RevOps and the operations hub, you can do so many things with your custom codes within HubSpot. So lead scoring can be anything, obviously you guys know this, but from like downloads, number of emails, things like that. So in its role in the customer journey, I think my question for you is, are you talking like throughout the whole customer journey? So when maybe it's booking a demo to having that meeting to then maybe a discovery call on maybe what tier they're going to be, and then from there becoming a client, and then the ups.
Christine, I think you hit your mute button. And Ritesh has clarified, he said the role from marketing to conversion.
My AirPods just went out, so I'm sorry about that. Where did I leave off on? Do you know, Jen?
You kind of started breaking up on my end.
Okay. So for lead scoring, my question for you about is just because with the customer journey lead scoring, you can do it at every stage, meaning as like a prospect, like booking a demo all the way to that discovery, as well as once the client becomes a customer with CS, and you can do lead scoring based on if they're going to renew, how you can do upsells with them. We look at all of those different activities, and that's all within, especially the renewal workflow we have with the Operations Hub triggering when like the new deal is going to be coming through or the contract signed from previous, things like that. With CS, we have a lead scoring tool or a workflow based on weighted CS based on the size of the company, revenue, and what tier they're on with us. So like the ARR for that company, if that answers your question. I can explain a little more, but I just don't. That could be a loaded question to go deep into.
All right. He says, yes, it does. So we're in the clear here.
Cool. Awesome.
One more question so far from Prasad, and he wants to go back over lead rotation and weighted leads. I know that was something pretty technical that on first glance, it might look like you need a developer to help out. You said you learned how to do that yourself, but I guess just going through kind of what the criteria you are using at your own company to rotate leads.
Yep. So again, we look at revenue. We look at what they're spending with us. So ARR, and that's when they're like post win, like close win. But before that, when it comes to lead rotation with our BDRs or our account execs, we look at things like company revenue, company size, what technology they're currently using. So we use Zoom Info to pull in that data to see what they're using, how much they're spending in paid ads. And from there, we can really see what type of conversation we're going to have with them, because Billy Bob's Tackle Shop is probably going to spend less money than Philosophy, like the makeup company. So you can kind of see that and see who's going to get that. And also, so it's fair, because obviously sales, it's comps, and you want not one person to get all the big names. It's rotated through all of that. If that answers your question to kind of explain the weighted leads. If not, I can go a little deeper for you.
I put a last call on chat for any other questions here. I don't see anybody popping up. Christina, like she mentioned, has graciously agreed to share some Google Doc templates. We'll send you a recorded copy of the presentation. I'll also put some of those links to the influencers that she liked in the RevOps field, so you guys can follow up with that as well. So lots of good follow-up information for this one. Looks like we're officially all done with questions, so I'll go ahead, stop the recording. Thank Christina for her time today talking at our hug. And we hope to see you all in September when Sharon is going to talk about all the privacy and consent laws that marketers need to take into consideration. Bye, everyone.
See ya. Bye.